Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined as ever by Mr. Matthew of the Turner. Matt, we are back, and in the words of Eric Bischoff, better than ever.
Yeah, buddy, I missed you. I know I pretty much talk to you every day since our kind of little of a high of us doing solo podcast during the little bit of a holiday we had over here in the United States. But it's nice to be back together talking about, of all things, buddy, pro wrestling.
Imagine.
Who would have thought? We figured let's get back in the swing of things and talk about some great professional wrestling. But yeah, man, I'm excited to talk to you about these 3 shows from Marigold. Got official match graphics for some shows coming up in the new year, but things are fantastic. Obviously, we just finished and you'll hear about that in the Stardom cast. We finished the Goddess of Stardom Tag League as we are on the way to Ryogoko Kakakigan, and then myself and Andy Header, we will be back on Talk Joshi as well, because I know it's been about a week and a half of solo episodes. People call me Han because I'm doing these things solo, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a weird week. Thank you for bearing with us last week. Obviously, with it being Thanksgiving and with Stardom and Marigold having video on demand shows, it was really difficult to try and choreograph doing episodes where we could both be available, obviously, with it being Thanksgiving. I didn't want, despite Matt saying, yeah, I can do Thursday. I can definitely podcast Thursday. No, Matt, it's Thanksgiving. Stop it.
I actually did 2 episodes Thursday morning while Amber was cooking.
What is wrong? Oh, well, my God. Honestly, no.
Because it's like, stay out of the way. Everybody needs to stay out of the way, stay out of the kitchen. I'm like, I'm going to watch wrestling anyway. May as well bang out some stuff over on the Stardom cast for Patreon. So yes, I did. I did 2 episodes on Thursday, 2 episodes on Friday, and I got up early Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the tag league. So yeah. No rest for the wicked. No rest for the wicked, buddy.
So yeah, the Stardom cast was a little bit of one of our infamous Frankenstein episodes. So yeah, go and check that out in the archives. Funny story. This Marigold episode is the second time, as I was saying to Matt just before we recorded, this is the second time I've recorded this episode, because obviously, again, with it being Thanksgiving, I thought that we were doing a sort of a Frankenstein episode for Marigold as well. So I'd recorded all my bits on the Thursday, and I was like, brilliant. I am organized for once. And anyone who knows me will tell you that never happens. So I was organized. I was like, brilliant. Helps if you tell Matt, because otherwise it just sits there in the StreamYard. So I was like, right, I'll delete that and we'll just do it together, because again, it's always better, I think, to podcast together. So we'll be talking about the first 3 shows, I apologize, of the True Victory Tour from the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th. At the time of recording, it's Monday, the 1st of December. Happy festive period, everyone, by the way. The show from the 30th in Nara hasn't dropped yet, so we'll simply just talk about that next week when we talk about the double shot in Sapporo. First things first, I just want to give a big shout out to friend of the show and regular listener, Colin Matthew, who I believe has been in hospital for a while as well. So, Colin, if you're listening, I hope you are doing significantly better, my friend. And yeah, I hope all is well with you.
Yeah, get well soon, brother. Get well soon. Take it one step at a time, my man. Hopefully, our voices and somewhat funny humor help you get back together a little bit sooner than later. But we hope that you're feeling better, my friend.
Well, he's a Rangers fan, so football certainly isn't going to be doing that. Anyway, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Goodwin. He'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waitress and try the veal.
I can almost hear him getting angry. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's start talking about some news. And we are going to start not in 2025, Mr. Matt Turner, but we are going to start in 2026, because we alluded to this, or we spoke about this when we reviewed Marigold's last Korakuen Hall show. Marigold will be running First Stream at Ota Ward City Gym, and on that card will be Mayu Iwatani versus Takumi Iroha for the GHC Women's Championship. It has been confirmed with official match graphic that this will indeed be taking place, as will Miko Ano making her first defense of the Marigold World Championship against Mai Sakurai in the same building. Matt, of course, obviously with the challenges being laid out at Korakuen, we knew this was going to happen, but it's always exciting to see a match graphic. And when this was first announced, obviously, I'm very intrigued now to see where we are going with the white belt, or the United National Championship, the untitled, if you will, because obviously we have got Victoria Yuzuki's next title defense lined up, which we'll talk about in a moment. I'm also really intrigued to see where we're going with the Superfly Championship as well, because obviously if Mayu is still champion, that's not going to be defended at First Stream. I've got a couple of theories, and I know that you have got some theories as well, but obviously just before we get into those, really exciting first two matches confirmed for First Stream, and they will be two absolute bangers, I am sure.
Yeah, two return matches. Obviously, the return match from last year for the United National Championship with Mai Sakurai and Miko Ano. My opinion, both of their best matches in their respective careers, and which is saying something because Sakurai's been on a roll the last year and a half, and Miko Ano as well. But in my opinion, the best match of their respective careers was last year at First Stream, and now it's going to be the main event. It's going to be for the big belt, the red belt, the crimson red belt, the World of Marigold Championship. So I'm super excited for that one. And again, another rematch, buddy. Very much like how we had to wait about 7 years for Mayu's last rematch. This one, we're waiting about 5 years for the rematch. Obviously, we talked about it last week, and we'll talk about it again. Mayu and Takumi Roha had two fantastic matches back in 2020. One was a non-title match, and then one was for Mayu Iwatani, was then the World of Stardom champion, the red belt champion there. So they're 1-1 from those last two matches. This, for me, my friend, is the rubber match. So this is, again, a rematch we didn't think that we were going to see, but we are getting it, my friend, and we will be there more than likely live for this one. The one on the 1-3 is a really tricky day for us, but more than likely we will be here for Marigold First Stream. So I'm super excited for Mayu versus Takumi Roha. So much so, buddy, that maybe before we get on that plane to go to Japan, for our Patreon listeners, maybe we should do a watch along of one of those matches. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll grab some Christmas beer and yes. Ooh, I didn't ooh you on the match. Like, the match will be okay. Well, Christmas beer.
Christmas beer. Ooh.
I popped you on that. Yeah, I mean, the first two matches laid out. Really excited for Victoria Yuzuki's been on an absolute tear. Obviously, we'll talk about the great matches she's had on these three shows we're going to review. But I do have to put over, again, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, how awesome is this color scheme they have for this graphic? You have like a bright purple, a bright blue, and then in green, because it is Pro Wrestling Noah, GHC women's title match. So I think that's really, really cool how they melded those colors together. But so far, my friend, we got two matches announced for this show in Oda Ward. And brother, I'm super, super pumped. I'm excited to see how the rest of the card is going to shake out. But this 1-2 combination that they gave us to start off, you can be nothing but super excited for the next pay-per-view coming up from Marigold.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as Matt alluded to, we absolutely will be in Japan. That is now confirmed, isn't it, Matt? Flights are sorted, hotels are booked. We will be there. Obviously, as Matt's mentioned, 1-3 is sort of a tricky day, as Stardom have announced two shows and Marigold have announced a show. That I am 99% sure we will be at this show. Whichever Stardom show we can fit around it, I don't know, but we will definitely be at this show. We'll talk a little bit more about First Stream in a moment, Matt, because obviously there is a lot up in the air in regards to titles, because before we get to Marigold First Stream on the 3rd of January, we actually have a double shot in Sapporo that is going to be happening. Marigold have announced the full cards for an evening and a afternoon show in Sapporo. Slightly different venue this time. Ordinarily, companies tend to run the Chateraise Gato Kingdom, which is obviously where Stardom have recently run with their tag league, where they ran the Sapporo Rendezvous show. Marigold ran there not long ago as well. However, these two shows on the 6th of December will be emanating from the APA Hotel and Resort in Sapporo in Hokkaido. And again, we have afternoon and evening shows, title matches on both. The full card for the afternoon show is as follows. We've got Megaton taking on a debuting Gaki Nyankarman, who is a freelancer, and unfortunately, that's all I really know about her. We've got tag team match Chikagoto and Minami Yuki taking on Nagisa Nozaki and Chiaki. Obviously, we know that a Twin Star Championship match has been set up, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. We have got 6-woman tag Mayu Iwatani, Shoko Kishino, and Komomo Minami taking on Seri Amoka, Kazuna Tanaka, and Yuki Yamazaki. And then, Matt, our main event that we are going to be talking about, Victoria Yuzuki, the champion, taking on Misa Matsui for the United National Championship. Now, unfortunately, Misa has a rather poor record at Sapporo in terms of title matches. This is going to be a great match. I'm really, really excited for this. I do think that, unfortunately, that poor record will probably continue here.
We're both thinking double count out, right? 4.5 minutes in.
Absolutely. I'd be disappointed if it was anything else, Matt.
Count outs rule. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be just another great defense for Victoria Yuzuki. Again, she's kind of like, throwing back to my childhood, the Bret Hart when it comes to these championships, a fighting champion. I remember growing up, Bret Hart was such a fighting champion. And we're seeing that Victoria Yuzuki. It seems like every time that you go on social media, there's a match graphic for her for another title defense. And she did that with the Superfly Championship. And she's doing it here with the United National Championship. Literally to the point that, Rob, again, we are a month away from the end of the year. And when we do our end of the year awards, Victoria Yuzuki might be the Marigold Wrestler of the Year, considering the fact of what a great year that Utami's had, what a great year that Miko Ando's had. My Sakurai, obviously Mayu, she hasn't been there the full year, but still having great matches. It's really hard to not give it to anybody other than Victoria Yuzuki for the output of work she's doing. Not only it's a singles tag 6-person, I mean, she is really just an absolute fantastic young wrestler, and I believe only 20 years old. And Misa Matsui really isn't far behind. We've seen them having great exchanges before, and they really had a great exchange in that match in Korakuen Hall a few weeks ago when it was Misa Matsui and Chiaki having a successful title defense of the Twin Star Tag Team Championships against Yuzuki and Seri Yamaoka. And their exchanges here and these shows we're going to talk about were really, really good. I'm excited for this one. Again, this one's coming up Saturday. More great wrestling. It just seems like the train keeps on going for more great wrestling. Now, I know this is in Sapporo, Rob, but so my guess is this is going to be a VOD.
Oh, almost certainly, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good rule of thumb that if it's in Tokyo, the chances are it's live. Anywhere else, it will be VOD. A match I've missed out, by the way, on this card. Don't know how I missed it out. Miko Ano and Hummingbird will be taking on Mai Sakurai and Naomi Ishikawa. Naomi Ishikawa proving herself to be must-see at the moment in Marigold. Obviously, we also have an evening show, and that is stacked. Naomi Ishikawa versus Gaki Nyankarman, Komomo Minami versus Megaton, Kazuna Tanaka and Yuki Yamazaki taking on Nagisa Nozaki and Misa Matsui, Shoko Kishino against Chiaki, Miko Ano versus Chikagoto and Miko Ano, Chikagoto, Minami Yuki against, Mai Sakurai, Victoria Yuzuki, and Seri Yamaoka. And then, of course, your main event, the Superfly Championship match, Mayu Iwatani, the champion, making her 5th defense of that Superfly title against Hummingbird. Matt, another solid show. It is worth pointing out that Rhea Sato will not be on these cards as she will be sunning it up in Miami as a part of Sukiban. So there you go. But yeah, some really interesting matches there that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, the main event is going to be great. Kazuna Tanaka and Yuki Yamazaki against Nagisa Nozaki and Misa Matsui is also going to be very interesting. But this Superfly Championship, again, much as I love Hummingbird, much as I think she's a much improved wrestler, I do think Mayu Iwatani probably walks out of Sapporo as champion.
Real quick, but just a quick step back. Rhea Sato leaving cold Japan to go to warm Miami. Good for her.
North Japan as well, where it is very, very cold.
Yeah, there you go. Living it up. Welcome to Miami, as that Will Smith song from the 90s said. Or maybe 2000s.
Welcome to Miami. That's all I know, by the way. I don't know any other lyrics. Miami.
That's it. You got it. Yeah, you
nailed it. Say it with enough confidence, ladies and gentlemen. It's bound to be right.
You wrote the song. Rob, call me crazy, which I am.
Crazy.
I would not be shocked if Hummingbird gets the win here. What a big shot in the arm it would be for her. and then you're defending that belt in Ota Ward. We've seen a lot of upsets over the last month or two in Joshi. I wouldn't be shocked if this one's one of them. I think Mayu kind of has run her course as Superfly Championship. I know everybody's yelling, what about Miyamoto? What about Miyamoto? I don't know if we're getting that match. I really don't. But maybe what if we do Mayu versus Miyamoto like a special singles match? Like I think that match needs to happen, but I think maybe Mayu needs to move up the card more. Very much like how she's going to be probably semi-main event or one of the main event matches at First Stream with the Kumi Roja. So I wouldn't be shocked if Hummingbird gets the upset here, and that'd be a big shot in the arm for her. Get not only winning the Superfly Championship, but beating, in our opinion, the greatest Joshi of all time, still very much in her prime, and one Mayu Utami. So I would not count that out. Will I put any money on it? Maybe $1, maybe $1.10, maybe $1, Rob. Because again, pennies are no longer a thing in the next 4
That is
weeks.
very, very good point.
There it
Very
is.
good point.
I'm going to put 101 pennies that Hummingbird wins this, which in 10 years, that might be like $500,000. But going up in value, brother. Regardless, this match is going to be great. These two shows on Saturday are going to be terrific. And hopefully these shows go up sometime either Sunday or Monday of next week so that we can review them. But Marigold seems to be on an absolute roll as far as the talent goes. The shows have been excellent. Rossi's doing a really great job booking talent with other talent that really seem to work against each other. They're doing a great job telling stories. It's really been some great shows. And again, we're going to get into these 3 great shows. So, and this is just another one, double shot on Saturday. Really excited to watch both these shows. But like I said, if I'm going to bet my mortgage, I'm going to say Mayu. But if I'm going to bet 101 American pennies, I'm going to say Hummingbird getting the win here, my man. I'm going to say maybe the big upset here, and Hummingbird will fly out of the nest and become the new Superfly Championship champion.
Love it. Love it. I don't think that happens. Even though like Mayu has done a lot, especially in that promo at Corrigan Hall, where she said that Hummingbird is one of the people on this roster that she had her eye on. Being picked out like that by name is going to do Hummingbird a lot of good. This is a great chance for her to, pardon the pun, spread her wings. Yes, we are going to try and get as many bird puns in this.
I got
as
one
possible.
more. Keep going, buddy. You got a good flow. Go ahead.
But I do think we get that Miyamoto match. I would be very surprised if we've teased that and it's not going to happen. Now, obviously, we are at the mercy of 2 companies booking and 2 company schedules. I completely understand that. I do think that we get that, and I think that is one of your main events for Marigold's last Korakuen of the year. I think the vast majority of that card is going to be previews for First Stream, and rightly so. It's your last advert for your pay-per-view, apart from the New Year's Eve show, obviously. But I think Mayu versus Miyamoto will be your main event. I think Miyamoto will dethrone Mayu at Korakuen. And I think Miyamoto will then defend that belt at First Stream, possibly against Natsumi Shozuki, who has posted pictures to social media of her in the gym. She is recovering well. She appears to be doing a lot of training. Again, that is pure speculation. We don't know how close Natsumi Shozuki is to recovery. Fingers crossed it's not too long. So I think she's been out for it's over 6 months. So fingers crossed her recovery is nearing its end. But I would be surprised if Hummingbird takes the belt here. Had we already had the Mayu versus Miyamoto match, and again, I am possibly just clinging on to hope, I would be more inclined to think Hummingbird takes the title, because I agree. I think that's a great shot in the arm for her. Without that Miyamoto match, I don't think it happens. And again, that is solely because I think that's a good match to give away at Korakuen. And I think that then gives you another really good match. Whoever takes on Miyamoto, I think that gives them a very good match for First Dream as well. Because obviously, if Mayu retains and then we don't have another Superfly Championship, it's a title that's tied up a little bit, because obviously it can't be defended. Again, we will see. Before we before I sort of throw to you, because we might as well do this here, because the last round of matches that have been announced is the show at Shinjuku Face on the 10th of December. And again, a full card has been announced for that, with another title match and the return of Utami Hayashishita, which is obviously great news as well. The full card, by the way, is a really, really good card. Like, we open with Kazuna Tanaka versus Komomo Minami. Yes, please. Megaton versus Chanyota, which is Megaton's always fun. Now Ishikawa versus Nagisa Takibana. It is important to note that Nagisa Takibana is currently scheduled to be on this card, so bear that in mind. Against Arini Yamanaka and Hummingbird. Utami Hayashishita will make her first appearance since the 26th of October. She'll be teaming with Yuki Yamazaki against Nagisa Nozaki and the returning Ria Sato, who I imagine will have a hell of a tan, having been in Miami. Your semi-main event is Mika Wano, Victoria Yuzuki, Seri Yamaoka against Mayu Iwatani, Mai Sakurai, and Shoko Kashino. Always fun when we have Victoria Yuzuki and Mayu Iwatani across the ring from each other, but also Mika Wano and Mayu Iwatani. Yes, please. And then your main event, Twin Star Championship match, as YouTube viewers can see on the screen. The Darkness Revolution, Misamatsui and Chiaki, the champions, defending against the challengers, Chika Goto and Minami Yuki. Matt, we knew this was going to happen. This is set up in the show at Nara, which obviously we haven't been able to review yet. I wouldn't be surprised if Chika Goto and Minami Yuki win this. I think out of all three titles that are on the line, this is the most likely to change hands, in my humble opinion.
You know, I mean, it's a good shout. We kind of made mention that we thought that maybe it might be Chika Goto Minami Yuki to challenge Magenta back at Grand Destiny, because obviously it looked like it was going to be Goto and Koki Amare before Koki Amare got injured. And they're doing a great job building up Chika Goto and Minami Yuki, especially Chika Goto. She's been getting in some really high-profile matches with Miko Ano, with Mayu, with Utami, from time to time. So they're putting a lot of stock in Chika Goto. That would be something. And Minami Yuki, she was the Rookie of the Year. What a better way to go from one December to the other than walk out as champion. I mean, Misa Matsui and Chiaki, we have seen the Twin Star Championships. They really don't get too long of a run. And so, man, that's a really great shout. That's a really great shout. Before I give my official prediction, I like your idea with Miyamoto versus Mayu, and then Miyamoto versus Nasumi Shozuki and Odawara. I'm all for that, buddy. I am all for that. Great booking. Great booking.
Again, that's entirely dependent on whether Natsumi Shozuki is fit for the show.
Regardless, I mean, Mayu versus Miyamoto, and then Miyamoto. Even just, I really honestly, the main thing I get out of that is Miyamoto on that show in Odawara, because she's fantastic. But speaking of fantastic, this is going to be a great match. Like, just the Chika Goto and Misa Matsui, their exchanges. Again, Goto and Minami Yuki have come a long way in such a short amount of time as kind of like a makeshift tag team. Because again, this was supposed to be Goto and Koki Amare. They were supposed to, and then Minami Yuki gets slotted in there. And then we've been saying, boy, they work really well together. Chika Goto's the hot hand right now. Strike while the iron's hot. I'm going to go with 51%, Rob. I'm going to lean towards you. You sold me. You sold me, buddy. You sold me. I'm going to say, yeah, Goto, Minami Yuki, they get the championship here. So then maybe that frees up Misa Matsui then to go after Miyamoto in 2026 for the Superfly champ. It all came full circle. Dude,
you go.
We just booked that together live on air. That's what we do, folks. We hope you have your bird's eye on us for our booking.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
And the exclamation point. What do I always tell you? You have a whole bunch of big spots. You need to end it with the exclamation point. Boom, there it is.
Absolutely. There's a couple of reasons that I think that this will be a change of hands. I don't think the Darkness Revolution need a long run with the Twin Star Championships. I think you need to capitalize on the momentum of Chika Goto. And I think, similar to giving Misa Matsui a belt, I think Misa Matsui, I think you're absolutely right. I think whether it's her that dethrones Mayu, obviously we've already seen Misa and Mayu, so I don't think it will be, or whether it is her that takes the belt off, whoever it is that takes the belt off Mayu, in my booking, Miyamoto. I think with what Chika Goto has achieved, with the momentum that you have behind her, especially following Korakuen Hall as well, where you had her in that main event picture with Mika Wano. I think not handing her a title, but giving her the opportunity to get a title is very important. I think her and Minami Yuki going into Ota Ward as your champions is a really important visual for Chica, because again, we've talked about the aura, we've talked about the fact that she's worked incredibly hard on her in ring. To the point where she's unrecognizable from the person that we were saying in the 2024 Dreamstar, that we weren't sure she was able to go more than 9-10 minutes in the ring. We didn't know if the stamina was there, but she's massively improved. She's one of the hottest things in Marigold. She's one of the most captivating things in Marigold, and her storyline is one of the most endearing in Marigold. So I think this could be step one towards bigger and better things for Chica Goto. Now, again, if my Goddess of Stardom tag predictions are anything to go by, this is going to be over in 2 minutes and Misa Matsui will pin Minami Yuki. But there we are. That's the wonder of pro wrestling booking. But yeah, I think that could be the booking, which brings up the point, which brings up the question: where are we going with third stream? Because I imagine following Sapporo, we will have more of an idea of the directions we are going in terms of the United National title and indeed the Superfly title. If Victoria Yuzuki is successful against Misa Matsui, which I think both of us think she will be, who steps up? Because obviously Rhea Sato's already had a shot. Misa Matsui will already have had a shot. Do you go further into the Darkness Revolution? Do you have Nagisa Nozaki then step up to Victoria Yuzuki? I know that you are still of the opinion that it's going to be Utami, or you think that's certainly an option. And then, of course, do you have the Superfly Championship? Do you have Mayu drop that belt before Ota Ward so it can be defended? Will the Twin Star titles be defended? Do you have Chica Goto, Minami Yuki versus, I don't know, a Seri Yamaoka and a Shoko Kashino? I've just picked two random names. I mean, Shoko Kashino and Gigaton are still owed a title shot. I'm just putting that out there.
You're right.
I mean, if anything screams Ota Ward. But yeah, where do you think we're going? I mean, I would love to see Nao Ishikawa in one of those scenes. And if it's a Twin Star title challenge and she's given the opportunity, like she was in Korakuen Hall, to really shine, I think you've got a really good groundwork then to put on a really fantastic Twin Star title match.
Yeah, brother, you came up with a lot of really great questions that we're going to be obviously being answered over here the next few shows. Another reason why a lot of these shows are going to be can't miss and must see, not only for the great wrestling and the great championship matches that we have coming up over here in the next few weeks, but you're right. Who's Victoria Yuzuki going to defend that championship against? What is Utami doing? Because again, Utami is one of either number one or your number two biggest stars in the company, and obviously again she's coming back here from her little bit of a break. She's coming back here in just a few weeks' time. So what match are we doing for Utami? Because you need to have her in a big important match. Do you meld the Victoria Yuzuki championship defense, with Utami? That's a way to go. I mean, that's a match I think everybody would want to see. Not only that, buddy, but you think about your last three matches on this show, could look like Mayu versus Takumi Iroha, Utami versus Victoria Yuzuki, if they go that way, and Miko Ano versus Mai Sakurai for the Crimson Red Belt. That's a great 1-2-3 punch. And then you throw in all the other great wrestlers that they have kind of in the middle card going on the way to the main event. So, and then you throw in your dream scenario at Miyamoto. So this could be looking like an all-timer Joshi card coming up if things kind of go a certain way. But I think, when you come to certain things, yeah, you're right. What is the tag title going to look like? Chica Goto needs to be in a big, important role. Is Chica Goto, does she walk in as one half of the Twin Star Championship? Is this a match that maybe goes to like a disqualification and we only get a little bit of it and then they run it back in Ota Ward? You know what I mean? Is this something that you can run back as an automatic rematch, very much like we're seeing in Stardom, which we will talk about on the Stardom cast? I mean, that's a way you can go about it. Are they going to do maybe a special singles match with Chica Goto and Utami? Or maybe Chica Goto and Utami versus Magenta. Maybe, somebody from Marvel is coming over as we can kind of dip into that feud. There's a lot of options that they can go with. a lot of options are the right answer because of just how well the company's doing and how great Chikagoto is and how we're all excited for Utami's return. So again, another reason why, partner, why all these shows are going to be fantastic is because these next few shows are going to shape up what the rest of the card is going to look like for First Dream. And if anything is based off the first two matches that were announced that we just talked about, these shows and matches and the rest of that card is going to be absolutely fantastic coming up on the 3rd of January.
I think if Chikagoto comes out on the losing end of this match in Shinjuku face and is therefore not in the Twin Star picture, I think you perhaps put her across the ring from Utami.
Yep.
In a singles match.
Yeah, special singles match. Yeah. And maybe even give her the win. You know what I mean? Maybe give her a clean win on it. We've seen Utami is one of the very, very few wrestlers that understands how to lose, benefit her opponent, and then bounce right back. And we're gonna find that out in the next few weeks because this is her first match. Yeah, because she hasn't had a match since she lost that belt to Miko Ano, correct?
No, this is her first match back.
Yeah, and she did a great job. When she lost that belt to Shuri back in 2021 for Stardom, she had a phenomenal 2022. So it's just like, if anybody knows how to bounce back from that and getting their opponent over, it's Utami Hayashishita. Again, she is a special, special talent, brother.
Absolutely. Some really, really interesting questions posed ahead of that pay-per-view, which is just a month away as we record, or just over a month away as we record. Final little bit of news. Unfortunately, we see Utami Hayashishita coming back from injury. Unfortunately, Nagisa Takibana will be out of this run of shows. She missed the show in Nara on the 30th, and she's missing the double shot in Sapporo on the 6th. As we mentioned, she will be back, or she is currently announced to be back for that show at Shinjuku Face. It looks like it's nothing too serious, Matt, maybe just a knock. She did take a hell of a tumble during one of these shows, so that might have contributed something towards it. But again, thankfully, it appears to be nothing too serious, and we'll be seeing Nagisa Takibana back in ring in just over 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks.
Yeah, she's one we mentioned about 2 or 3 weeks ago. She's one of our favorite wrestlers to watch on, the opening match or the second match. She's been absolutely fantastic. 3-ways, singles, tags. Nagisa is somebody, again, that I wouldn't be shocked when this time next year rolls around. We're talking about the most improved wrestler in all of wrestling is one Nagisa Takibana. So again, it looks like that just a couple bumps and bruises. They're err on the side of caution, which is always the smart way to go. And hopefully we'll be seeing her back in the next few weeks.
Fingers crossed, my friend. Fingers crossed. Let's delve into the start of the True Victory Tour then. And we start on Saturday, the 22nd of November for True Victory 2025, Night 1, the Great East Earthquake Memorial event for someone. Now, obviously, we're missing Natsumi Shizuki, we're missing Utami Hayashishita, we're missing Koki Amare from... Sorry, stuck in my throat, from these shows through injury. The announced attendance inside the Morioka Gymnasium in Iwate was 248 people, a 47.18% decrease on the only other previous show the company have run in the venue, which was 365 as a part of last year's Dreamstar Grand Prix. It's actually the company's lowest recorded attendance in Iwate, including the 2 shows run at the Miyoko Sea Arena, with 425 in August earlier this year, and then 676 they drew there for Mirai's homecoming show in June 2024. In terms of the results, then, we open with Kazuna Tanaka defeating Hummingbird with the number 6 in 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Yuki Yamazaki defeated Megaton, of course, with the sleeper hold in 6 minutes and 24 seconds. In a 3-way match, Seri Yamaoka defeated Minami Yuki and Nagisa Takibana, getting the win over Nagisa with the dial lock in 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Semi-main event, Chikagoto and Mai Sakurai defeated Miko Ano and now Ishikawa Mai Sakurai, submitting now Ishikawa with the STF in 11 minutes and 23 seconds, which I think is arguably the most anticipated match of this run of 3 shows for me and you, Matt. And then 6-woman tag team main event, the Darkness Revolution team of Chiaki, Misa Matsui, and Rhea Sato defeated Mayu Utani, Komomo Minami, and Victoria Yuzuki. Misa Matsui getting the win over Komomo Minami with the Misa Kawaii driver in 14 minutes. And Matt, perhaps teasing another member of Darkness Revolution. Who knows? You'll have to wait and see. Matt, we started with that singles match, Kazuna Tanaka versus Hummingbird, and we continue Hummingbird's rather spotty run towards the Superfly title in terms of results, at any rate.
Yeah, obviously, I love Kazuna Tanaka, but you have Hummingbird wrestling again, the great Mayu Iwatani for a championship match. A few wins wouldn't have hurt her. A few wins would have hurt. And, I don't think a loss to Kazuna Tanaka here would have really derailed her career. Regardless, buddy, this was great. I say it all the time. I'm going to say it again. In order to start your show off, you have to start it with a hot opener. And this was a hot opener. You have the lucha high-flying style versus the submission striking style of Kazuna Tanaka, and they just made it work. 2 different styles, and they made it work, which just goes to show you how great these 2 young, fantastic wrestlers are, just so young into their careers. The fact that they're wrestling somebody that have different styles, and they still were able to tell some really great stories, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Hummingbird using that almost like the Tajiri style transil submission, which I believe somebody in commentary called it the bird's nest, and that's what I'm going to call it. So I like that. About halfway through the match, Tanaka comes back with some brutal head kicks and locking in the cross arm breaker. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Hummingbird counters the Redream for a roll up, scoring a 2.9 count. A really great falsie there, which I thought was going to be the finish. Ultimately, though, it is that brutal running knee strike and what her dad used to call the Tanaka special, putting away Hummingbird. I had this at 3.5 stars. I know it was a shade under 8 minutes. I wish this would have went 10, 11 minutes because I thought these 2 are really, really hitting a great stride. But again, another really solid match to open up what was ultimately a solid show.
Yuka Yamazaki then picked up only her 2nd singles victory of her young career against Megaton. Megaton continuing on what is becoming a Goldberg-like streak of losses in a row. Matt, I assume that you don't have a lot to say about this match.
Actually, this was fun because Yuka was really good here with Megaton, considering that she's still a rookie and still understood like what to do and where it need to be. You're going to get your comedy. The comedy was there. It wasn't overly done. Yuka played her parts really fun. There was a couple times where Yuka was like trying to get like doing some rope running, and Megaton came behind her and scared her, and then Yuka took a bump, and then it was like a falsie, and I was like, all right, you know what you're getting. Again, it's a Megaton match. You're not getting Malenko and Guerrero from '95 in the ECW arena. You know you're going to have your fun with it. So I thoroughly enjoyed some of the spots they had. Ultimately, though, is Yuka Yamazaki picking up a win. Poor Megaton eating another L. I think she's something like 40 matches in a row that she's lost. So regardless, only one of these wrestlers wrestled Minoru Suzuki on Grand Destiny. It was Megaton. So 3.25 stars. It was a fun enough match. I enjoyed it for the 6.5 minutes it was on my screen.
We then moved on to the 3-way. Sariyama getting the win over Nagisa Takibana with that dial lock. Again, Nagisa Takibana taking a nasty spill to the outside. We've done a lot of complimenting of Nagisa Takibana for how smoothly she is doing that double jump reverse crossbody. Didn't quite work out here, Matt, but hopefully everything seemed okay.
Yeah, obviously that was the big thing that was gift to death on social media. I obviously didn't. I think it took me a day or 2 for me to watch the show just again because of all the holiday festivities that were going along. So it's just like, it's really weird because she's hitting that like crystal perfect every single time, but accidents happen. So as I'm watching this match, I know in the back of my head that she takes that really bad spill. But before leading up to that, she was perfect on everything.
Yeah.
Like it was like, and again, it's a 3-way match. Could be tough to do, especially with 3 relatively newer wrestlers. Again, Sari's a rookie. Minami was a rookie last year. Nagisa pretty much is a rookie. So you only have maybe 3 years experience combined between the 3. And yet her timing, her ring placement, her psychology, her footwork was all great. Like I was blown away once again of how great Nagisa is. And then she does take that tumble. And these 3 wrestlers did a great job. One, making sure Nagisa was okay. Because as soon as she fell, the seconds and the ref came over, make sure she was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly and this has happened to me so many times when somebody messes up a spot like that, you're like, you kind of freeze. Where do I go? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And they just, let's do this instead. And let's get back to where we need to be. They were able to think quickly on their feet. And again, considering the fact between the three of them, there's like 3.5 years of combined experience there. The fact they were able to think quickly on their feet just really goes to show you how great these three wrestlers are already in their career. So kudos to them. And again, kudos to Nagisa because again, she's fantastic. Ultimately, though, this is some really great stuff. Minami Yuki and Sarah Yamaoka trading submissions. They kind of have similar styles. That's a match I'd like to see go somewhere at 9, 10, 11 minutes. Really terrific stuff there. Eventually, though, it was Sarah Yamaoka hitting a big spear, and then the Terry Funk rolling around. I think they used to call that the Amarillo roll, now known as the dial-lock, getting the pinfall. 3.5 stars. I thoroughly enjoy this. I thought this was great. Some reason Marigold, when they have these three-way matches, they can get really, really clunky, but they just know how to do them where all three wrestlers look really, really good. And I thought this was terrific. I give them 3.5 stars.
We moved to the semi-main event, and Matt, this was the match that from Korakuen Hall we were very, very, very excited about. Obviously, Miko Ano and Chika Goto had put on a banger. Chika Goto determined to prove herself. And obviously, Mai Sakurai and Naomi Ishikawa as well put on what was, in my humble opinion, match of the night at that Korakuen Hall show. Did it live up to expectation, though, Matt, for you?
It did. I believe this is, and we're going to get into these next shows. From these three shows, I think this was my favorite match of these three shows. Just kind of going off the top of my head. I think this was great. Literally the point where I was like halfway through, I was thinking, Miko Ano, Mai Sakurai, maybe you want to leave something for Ota Ward because they were really laying into each other.
Went at each other.
We've seen these preview tags, not only in Marigold, not only in Stardom, but just really in wrestling over the last decade or two, when it's like, yeah, you're having a big match coming up in 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. We're going to put a preview tag on there. And they only give you a little bit, just give you a little bit of taste because, obviously the big end game is the big championship match. But Miko Ano and Mai Sakurai are really going at it. And Chika Goto and Miko Ano as well. They were really going at it. Miko Ano's kicks, it seemed like, I don't know if it was the acoustics. I don't know if she got new kick pads, but her kicks seem to be hitting harder. Like there seems to be more of a thud when she's hitting them. And I was like, wow, she's really good. She's the number one wrestler in this company. She's holding the biggest prize in Marigold, that Crimson Red Belt. So she's really carrying herself like a star. The new gear, the new robe. She's really giving her that, as you call it, aura farming. Like she really feels like the biggest star in this company, which is crazy to say when you have wrestlers like Mayu Utami, Utami Hayashishita, Megaton, that Miko Ano really feels like the biggest star in this company. But don't feel like that Naomi Ishikawa is an overthought as well. Because Naomi Ishikawa, I thought she was great. I thought that her opening segments with Chika Goto really set the tone. We knew like the big thing in this match is we're just going to continue to set the table for Ota Ward coming up on the 3rd of January. And we got there and we got in spades. But Goto and Naomi Ishikawa, they understood like there's a lot of eyes on this match, and they made sure that they maximized every second they were in the ring. Just some really great stuff. Eventually, though, it is just Mai Sakurai just blitzing Naomi Ishikawa towards the end of the match. And then Chika Goto doing a great job keeping Miko Ano at bay. Chika Goto got a lot in on Miko Ano. Again, kind of going off their match from Korakuen Hall, where Miko Ano's like, no, Chika Goto, you didn't earn an opportunity at the red belt. And you can see that Chika Goto kind of took that personal here in this match. So Chika Goto did a great job kind of keeping Miko Ano at bay for Mai Sakurai to hit the STK, the Shining Black, and then the STF, tapping out one Naomi Ishikawa. 4 stars for me, my friend. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, I think between this and the main event of night 2, I think were probably my favorite matchups. And then, of course, there's some really tasty matchups on that Nara show as well. Kazuna Tanaka and Seri Amoka, the match that immediately just springs to mind. The main event of this show, of course, saw Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami fall against the Darkness Revolution. But, Matt, all of the talk was of this brand new member of the Darkness Revolution. Have we seen the debut of Dark Mirai?
Oh yeah, I know. She leaves the company, but maybe those rumors may have been true, sir. May have been true. Before we see that, hopefully we did see. I'm sure you saw the interview with our buddy from Hype Talk TV where Mirai said she wants to wrestle Sherry, and then Sherry like retweeted.
Sherry did respond, yeah.
It's like so somewhere, Rob. Maybe fingers crossed. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. Maybe somewhere when we're in Japan, we get that Mirai versus Sherry match. Yeah, there's a lot of shows.
She is a freelancer and. Sherry's not doing anything at Dream Queendom. That's all I'm saying.
You're right. Oh man. Oh, we're fantasy booking a lot of show. What do you real quick? What are you fantasy booking for Wrestle Kingdom, buddy? At this point.
Oh, Megaton against Minoru Suzuki 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
Probably, I mean, the only stipulation really that is an Indian death match, or strat match, one of the two.
I'm gonna go with Orange Cassidy versus Akeem.
The
With
African Dream,
yes, with the Doctor of Style,
absolutely
with the Doctor of Style at Slick on the
makes
outside.
sense. It's the
Yeah.
only match that makes sense for Wrestle Kingdom, to be fair.
Anywho, going back to this match, this was your classic babyface versus heel match where you have Darkness Revolution jump the baby faces. Every member of Team Mayu Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami, I think they took out every chair. If not, they didn't do it here. They definitely did it in the main event of the third show we're going to see. Because I was like, was that the thing where they're just like, hey, let's try to take out every chair? And I've done that
Yep.
before. I'm like, yeah, let's take out that. The promoter's not paying me what I asked. I'm going to take out every chair in the building. So I don't know if that was the thought process here. I really enjoyed that. And then Komomo Minami, she comes in, she takes the heat, which makes sense because your two more explosive wrestlers and your two biggest stars are Mayu and Victoria Zuki. Mayu comes in, she gets a little bit of a heat, a little bit of a comeback here, and then it's Rhea Sato of all these members that slows Mayu down with the armbar, with the cattle mutilation. I really enjoyed Rhea Sato's work here with Mayu. I thought that was great, but ultimately the big hot tag goes to one Victoria Zuki. She just comes like she's shot out of a cannon. Just the drop kicks, the super kicks that all three members of Darkness Revolution, they did a great job making you think, and rightfully so, that Victoria Zuki is the biggest star in this match. Again, she's holding the biggest belt. I know Mayu's in this match. She's holding the second biggest championship in this in the company. So technically, she is the highest ranking wrestler in this match, and they do a great job making her offense look so legit. Not that she needs any help with that because Victoria Zuki is just an absolutely fantastic talent from really great stuff. Eventually, though, we get a 3-on-1 advantage on Victoria Zuki. Then Komomo Minami comes in because it was kind of like, well, she got her butt kicked for the first half of this match. She comes in with that hammerlock DDT and that shotgun knee combination we've been seeing quite some time. Thoroughly enjoy that. Mayu comes in with a super kick that opens up the door for Komomo Minami to hit a fisherman suplex on the Chiaki or onto Misa Matsui, scoring Komomo a 2 count. Misa comes in with, as you call it, Rob, the best flying knee in all of
Damn
wrestling.
straight.
And that opens up the door for Misa to hit the Misa Kawai driver. And I really like that 1-2 combination of the flying knee into the Misa Kawai driver, getting the win. 3 3/4 stars, a really great match to end. Again, what was ultimately a really fantastic show. And the fact that the heels got the win on a team that has Mayu Utami and Victoria Zuki, and it was Misa Matsui getting the win, just really goes to show you that they are definitely building Misa up and doing it in the proper way for her challenge coming up this weekend for the United National Championship.
So you were fairly adamant when they were turning Saya Kamatani heel that it was the worst decision in the history of the world.
I haven't apologized for that in a week, so I apologize, folks. She's doing a-okay considering the fact that I think like over 4,500 tickets are sold out for Dream Queendom. So yeah, I was wrong. That's okay. I was almost, Rob, real quick, what was I more wrong on, that or my prediction in the Goddess to start in the tag league?
What, the fact that our winners only won 2 matches all block? Yeah, probably that, mate. Is Mirai possibly the person, aside from Saya Kamatani, that is the least likeliest to turn heel because she's just so damn lovely? Like we saw in the interview with I've Talk TV, really good interview. Go and check it out on YouTube. Just how genuinely lovely she seems. Surely she can't be turning here. I know it was a very begrudging piece of involvement on behalf of the Darkness Revolution, of course, but hypothetically, of course, Mirai's far too nice to turn heel. Surely.
Well, I mean, it's not like she's going to leave the company and then come back like 2 months later to turn heel.
Imagine, imagine. I know you did the farewell thing for me. I know you did the gauntlet, but no.
Coming back. Yeah, coming back.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
heel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess stranger things have happened, but I guess if they can turn Sai Kamatani heel and it can work, I guess it all depends on the cast of the character. Like obviously Sai Kamatani, it's like, hey, here's the role that I'm giving. I am going to, commit 110%, and clearly that's worked for them. But Maybe other than Mayu and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, maybe the only other wrestlers that I can't buy being a heel. Just can't buy being a heel. Like Pat Patterson told Ricky Steamboat, like, yeah, Ricky, you can come in with a chainsaw and cut off Hogan's head, and they're still not going to buy it.
Moving on to night 2 then of the True Victory Tour. Again with the tagline, the Great East Earthquake Memorial Event for someone in the Hamanasu Hall, I apologize, in Omori. 312 people in attendance. It's the first time the company have run the venue. The only other company to run the venue this year is Michinoku Pro, who drew an attendance of 370 to their show on the 5th of May. In terms of results, then we had Rhea Sato defeating Hummingbird with a leg capture suplex in 9 minutes and 52 as Hummingbird continues possibly the worst build-up to a title match ever. Three-way match, Chika Goto defeated Yuki Yamazaki and now Ishikawa, pinning Yuki Yamazaki with the Goto chokeslam in 7 minutes and 41 seconds. Singles match, Kazuna Tanaka defeating Nagisa Takibana with the jumping knee strike in 10 minutes and 23 seconds. Tag team action, Darkness Revolution, Misa Matsui and Chiaki defeated Mayu Iwatani and Komomo Minami, with Chiaki getting the pinfall over Komomo with a diving guillotine leg drop in 13 minutes and 1 second. And then in your main event, 6-woman tag team action, Victoria Yuzuki, Mai Sakurai, and Minami Yuki defeated Miko Ano, Seri Amoka, and Megaton. Mai Sakurai obviously submitting Megaton. Obviously, with the STF in 13 minutes and 44 seconds. Matt, obviously, we opened with Hummingbird against Rhea Sato. A good match, but again, one of the worst runs of form going into a title match I've seen for poor Hummingbird.
Yeah, another reason why she should win it. Not only should she win it, Rob, I'm sure you
really would be a shock.
Yeah, not only should she win, I know that's been all over social media that just last week we were on the 30th anniversary of Diesel defeating Bob Backlund in 5 seconds to win the WWF Championship when he just kicked him in the stomach and hit him with a jackknife. That should happen to Hummingbird and Mayu.
What, jackknife powerbomb?
Jackknife powerbomb. We'd have to come up with a bird pun for that, or the egg breaker. I don't know. But regardless, this was great in the fact that it got almost 10 minutes. And again, very much like the Kazuna Tanaka match that we talked about. Hummingbird has the high-flying style, that lucha style, where Rhea Sato was more grounded in her style, and they made it work. And the psychology is really simple. Rhea Sato is going to try to grind down Hummingbird to kind of keep her on the mat, because Hummingbird has the advantage when the match is moving at a faster pace, and she's able to use her high-flying offense. I thought it was really great stuff here. And again, we've seen Rhea Sato come a long way in such a short amount of time with the submissions, with the holds, using the Bryan Danielson cattle mutilation. And now we've seen her over these past few weeks adopt the Regalplex, the leg capture back suplex, which she uses here to defeat Hummingbird. Again, 10 minutes. I thought was the perfect time to tell their story. Really great stuff. Great fire for Hummingbird. It was just too much of Rhea Sato, too much of her style of offense to put away Hummingbird. 3.5 stars for me, my friend. And again, I like how Rhea Sato is using Bryan Danielson moves. She's using Jamie Noble moves, and now she's using William Regal moves.
Absolutely. I mean, who better to learn from than the greats of mat wrestling? I've really enjoyed Rhea Sato's work, to be fair. And again, since this heel turn, she's progressively got a lot more aggressive in that grounded style. And we saw it again with Mayu Iwatani on the show previous, and here against Hummingbird as well. There's a very high ceiling for Rhea Sato, which I'm very, very excited about. And I'm very, very keen to see more of the sort of yin and yang thing that they're doing with Victoria Yuzuki and Rhea Sato, sort of placing them alongside Seri Amoka as these generational rivals, the three-headed monster that will guide Marigold into the future, I'm sure. Moving on, talking about three-headed things. Kind of, sort of a transition.
That's all right. Yeah,
it'll do.
You've had better. But you had worse.
Nobody bats 1,000, Matt. Nobody bats 1,000.
And you will have worse in the future, buddy. So that
100%. I'll have worse later in this podcast, bro. Chika Goto, now Ishikawa, and Yuki Yamazaki. Goto getting the win, understandably here, getting the chokeslam onto Yuki Yamazaki. What were your thoughts on this, Matt?
I thought this was great. I think she had the chokeslam on now Ishikawa, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I say Yuki Yamazaki?
Yeah. I just want to make No, you just want to make sure I was paying attention. That's what teamwork does. My one criticism with Chika Goto over these last few months was the fact that she's winning matches with like a whole bunch of different finishers. And I'm like, no, the Goto choke slam, the hammerlock choke slam, that's her cool GCS. And you basically can make a shirt out of it. You can chant it. Like, just keep establishing that. Like, what are we doing? She'll win one or two matches with it and then go to like some random body slam. So I was thoroughly, first of all, I thought this match was great. 3.5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that, again, she won another match with the Goto choke slam. So I'm like, yes, let's establish that finisher. She was great here, but she did a lot of kind of like laying out of the match and letting Now and Yuka Yamazaki go at it. We've seen them Now and Yuka wrestle before in 3-ways and in tags, but give me that 9-10 minutes in front of Cork and Hall or the 176 box, because those two have really great styles, the hard hitting, the great firing up, really knowing what to do and when. I thought the Now and Yuka was really the best part of this match, but ultimately it's all about getting Chika Goto a win and getting a win with the Goto choke slam. Again, 3.5 stars, another great 3-way match here in Marigold.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, really, because that was something that I wanted to talk to you about. Because obviously, I know you were not a fan of Chika Goto just using the power slam to pin Kazuna Tanaka in that tag match. But I was thinking about this, and obviously, wrestlers are forever adapting and forever developing new moves. And for lack of a better phrase, these shows are effectively house shows. And my question to you was going to be, if Chika Goto is, attempting to add another big move to her arsenal, perhaps trying to get the power slam over as another possible finish, surely the house show circuit in a tag match, that has very little standing in the grand scheme of things, surely that should be the place to do it.
Rob, you're not wrong. You're also not right. I will give you my response. I will give you my response by quoting the late great Bruce Lee. I do not fear a man that knows 1,000 different kicks that can do it one time. I fear the man that has thrown the same exact kick 1,000 times. So I see your point. Sometimes you don't know what's going to stick, but the Goto choke slam, that's her coolest move. Get that. Use your time in the ring. That time in the ring is very precious. It is there's 24 hours in a day. These three ladies had less than 8 minutes of those 24 hours to tell their story. So what do you want to do? You want to try to get a new move over that may or may not get over, or the move that is really starting to get over with the character, the personality, the wrestler that is Chika Goto. Again, I fear the man that knows one kick that's thrown it 1,000 times. That's what Chika Goto needs to do. She needs to throw the Goto choke slam 1,000 times. There you go, buddy. So this is one in a row, buddy. One in a row. She only needs 999 more.
Cannot believe you threw Bruce Lee at me. But no, I think that's a good thing to say, especially as we haven't quite seen the Goto chokeslam enough for it to be the established move. But no, you're absolutely right. I think the more that she does it, the more they can become the three most dangerous letters in all of pro wrestling. And then that, of course, leads us to that inevitable Chika Goto, Randy Orton WrestleMania moment, which I think we're all waiting for. Imagine in WrestleMania 42, Randy Orton's like, I did it once, I'm going to do it again. Open challenge for anyone in the back, and then suddenly it's Chika, go Chika.
65,000 people, or
absolutely, absolutely losing their minds.
That paid $800 for the nosebleed tickets in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Absolutely, we're like, yeah. Moving on, Kazuna Tanaka and Nagisa Takiman. I thought this was really good, Matt. Really enjoyed it. I just wish, if anything, it had gone a bit longer. I know it's had 10 minutes, which, to be honest, for a singles match on the undercard of a house show, I think is quite a lot. Still want it to go more, and I think that pays testament to both women.
Rob, on this segment, you are 100% right. This match got 10 minutes, which I was excited for, but these two were so good, I wish it would have gotten longer. These two were great. Started out with a big lockup, then I'm in, buddy. I am in after the big lockup. We had great chain wrestling back and forth. We had Nagisa using the drop kicks, Kazuna using the forearms, using the kicks. Really, really great stuff there. Nagisa hitting a 180-degree crossbody for a 2 count. And then Nagisa, she's been actually getting this move over. I failed to mention this in the last match. And I'll mention it now and mention the next match. She's been using the Tequila Sunrise, not the Momo Watanabe Tequila Sunrise, but the Conan Tequila Sunrise.
Wow.
Yes, and I believe she got a win with it on the next show we're going to talk about. So she's been establishing that. Again, it's all about establishing finishers. What I've always liked about wrestling, especially in the Joshi scene, is that a lot of these wrestlers have more than one finisher. Like you have your roll-up finisher, you have your big finisher, and then you have a submission finisher, where Nagisa is really getting the Tequila Sunrise over. So I'm thoroughly enjoying that. We really haven't seen too many wrestlers use that hold in quite some time. So I like how she had that on Kazuna Tanaka. But if anybody's going to know how to get out of submissions, it's one Kazuna Tanaka. Kazuna Tanaka is able to get out, and then she uses the redream to open up the door for the flying knee strike for the 3 count. If I was kind of putting together this match, I would have used the knee to set up the redream and not the other way around. I would have very, very much like Misa Matsui, used the running knee and then the Misa Kawai driver. So you have your big move and then your bigger move. So I would have just flipped those two. Regardless, I thought this was another terrific match. 3.5 stars, but I totally agree, partner. Give me this 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 14 minutes. 2 young up-and-coming wrestlers in the Joshi scene, giving them 10 minutes on, again, quote-unquote, a house show. Just really great stuff. These two really, really made it work wrestling against each other here.
Semi-main event then, Mayu Utami and Komomo Minami coming up short against the Twin Star champions in non-title action. Only Mayu Utami's 3rd tag team loss since her debut in May. Komomo Minami is an interesting one, and I was waiting until this match to say it because I think she had a great showing here despite being the one that was pinned. Is Ota Ward too big a stage for Komomo Minami? Because I don't want to say that she is capable of challenging for the United National title just yet, but I can see her coming out in Sapporo and maybe challenging. Now, do I think the stage is a little bit too big? Perhaps. Do I think that if given the opportunity to, quote unquote, sink or swim, do I think she'll swim? Absolutely. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good point. Because again, there's somebody that they're really putting their finger on. They're really getting a lot behind Komomo Minami. Again, she pinned Mirai twice in one match on Mirai's on her way out. So it's like, where are we going to go there? I think Ota Ward now, at least on coming up on the 3rd of January. I think it's a little bit too big of a scene. Will it be too big of a too big of a venue for her? And sometime in 2026, probably not. But at least for right now, I would say yes. But will she get there? I would say yes as well. I mean, she's definitely on the trajectory of being a big star here in Marigold. Here, I mean, obviously she's teaming with Mayu to take on the tag champs in a non-title match. This match starts off exactly how you thought would, Rob. We get the brawl. We get heat on Komomo Minami. Hot tag to Mayu. Mayu plays all the hits because that's what we want to see. The evasion dropkick, the basically the Arabian press double arm drag, and that's where she gets her big pop and then does the running basement dropkick. Really great stuff there. And then as if she looks like Mayu's getting her head of steam, Jackie comes in with the claw, buddy. The iron claw does everybody. And I think that's really cool. Like, Mayu's going to get stopped. Is it going to be something cheap? Is it going to be something really fast from Misa? Because obviously she's the wrestler we're highlighting as we're building her up towards that big championship match she has coming up with Victoria Zuki in just a few days. It's Jackie with the iron claw. It just goes to show you, my man. Sometimes the old school move. Sometimes what old is new again. The Von Erich iron claw stopping one, Mayu Iwatani in her tracks. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And then we get some great double teamwork from Misa and Chiaki, which I thought was really key in this match because Mayu is the biggest star in this match. Mayu is the best wrestler in this match. So if you take a look at a strategy point, where does Misa and Chiaki have the advantage? 2 main things. One, we're the heels. We can bend and break the rules, which they did in the beginning. And the other one is once Mayu gets ahead of steam, tag team work. We're the more established tag team. We are the tag team champions in this company. So I really like that, how like anytime Mayu would get ahead of Mayu would be building up the classic Mayu offense. It was teamwork from Misa and Chiaki, which ultimately gets Misa and Chiaki and the tag team championships over in this match. Really great stuff. Mayu eventually kind of gets taken out in this match, and then we see Chiaki hitting the Moonwolf and the top rope guillotine leg drop, putting away one Komomo Minami. 3 3/4 stars, another really excellent match. And again, going back to your question, Rob, I think Komomo, they're giving her the slow burn. I think you'll see them really starting to pick up steam as we go into the Dream Star next year, because that was kind of a story that they had with Komomo, that she didn't make the Dream Star, and then Sanka got sick, and then it was basically they gave her spot over to Maria. where Komomo was like, I had to qualify for this match. You're just giving her that spot. And they did a great job making it a story, turning something negative into a positive. So I think you're going to see Komomo gaslit up pretty well after that pay-per-view in May going into the Dream Star. That's basically what I would do. And that really seems like the proper steps for them to do. And that seems like that's the way they're going to do. I expect big things from Komomo Minami in 2026.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. When you look at the people on the roster that haven't yet challenged for either of the big singles belts in Stardom, Komomo Minami is an interesting one, but I think Kazuna Tanaka should be challenging before that. Sariyama Oka should be challenging before that. But I think Komomo is an interesting one because she screams to me project. I feel like she is Marigold's project. And I think it'll be really interesting. 2026 will be a really interesting year for her. And I think the Dream Star, which she will 1,000% be in, by the way.
That's the kiss of death. I'm sorry, Komomo. Anytime Rob says 1,000%,
that is true, actually.
I apologize, Komomo Minami, if you do not earn the Dream Star. That's Rob. That's on Rob.
That's on me. I'll take the hit. I imagine that we will be talking about her in the same way we talked about Rhea Sato and Victoria Yuzuki this year as the MVPs, not necessarily the MVPs, but the breakout stars of the tournament, which of course is very, very, especially if she continues under the tutelage of Mayu Iwatani. She's even striking the same pose as her in this graphic. So yeah, something's rubbing off. And yeah, you put Megaton in the main event. Megaton will submit. I feel like that was almost a given. But everything up to the Megaton submission, I thought this was fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Rob, you got a lot of star power in this match. You have Sariyama Oka, who's already a big deal, going to be a bigger deal. You got Miko Ano, who's your winner of the Dream Star and your Red Belt champion. Mai Sakurai, who was runner-up last year's Dream Star and your number one contender. Victoria Yuzuki, your current United National Champion. And Minami Yuki, who they have pegged for big things. When you go back into the annals of time, Rob, when you read the results, Megaton's name is in that finishing result. So you got to give credit where credit's due. But yes, as soon as this match started, I was like, clearly we're building up Mai Sakurai. And Megaton's on the opposite end. I almost did the Rob Goodwin 1,000%. This is ending on the STF.
Let's not make that a thing.
I think it is. Anywho, yeah, this match was great. Not only did you set up more Mai Sakurai and Miko Ano, but we kind of touched upon who Victoria Yuzuki may or may not wrestle at First Dream. Maybe it's Sariyama Oka, because they teased quite a bit of that match.
It was my shout initially that's what they would do at Ota Ward. If I'm perfectly honest, I think I brought it up on a previous podcast episode that it would be Sari.
We did talk about it when we previewed the Cork and Hall show that they can literally set up when it was Sari and Yuzuki versus Chiaki and Misa Matsui for the Twin Star. We did say that you can literally set up a 1-2 punch with your next two United National Champions with Misa Matsui and Victoria Yuzuki, which we are getting, and maybe Sari and Victoria Yuzuki. And that might be a really great shout, Rob, because again, more than likely that match is going to be semi-main. So if you sandwich Sari and Yuzuki in between Mayu and Takumi Roha and Miko Ano and Mai Sakurai, that basically just goes to show here is the future Marigold, here's the future Joshi right in front of 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 people on a big show in a legendary venue. So that would be a great shout for the future of Marigold to put that match on semi-main. And again, especially the fact that if that has to follow Mayu versus Takumi Roha, Yuzuki and Sariyama Oka, I'm not going to say they're gonna be able to follow it. I'm not going to say they're not, but you know that they're going to have their working boots on more than they already have. So it's basically going to be like challenge accepted. So interesting to see. But as far as this match goes, again, we got a lot of Yuzuki versus Sariyama Oka, a lot of Miko Ano and Mai Sakurai. Minami Yuki here was in a proper spot. And a lot of the spots she was in is just getting the dog kicked out of her by one Miko Ano. Again, I don't know if it's just because she's now the champion and there's more of a focus on her, but her strikes, which are already really brutal, they just seem like they're on another level of brutality. Ultimately, though, we get the big dive spot from Victoria Yuzuki. We get the waterfalls. That opens up the door for Mai Sakurai to say, wait a minute, I'm in the ring. I'm legal. Megaton, she's in the ring. She's legal. I was taught the STF by Masahiro Chono, who was taught by Luthez. Megaton taps out quite a bit. She connected the dots and puts away one Megaton. 4 stars for me. A really, really great 6-person match. to end this show that did build up a lot of potential, or not a lot of championship matches we know we're getting, and maybe one that has not been officially announced, Rob, that we may be getting in Oda World, Oda Ward, not Oda World, Oda Ward in just about 5 weeks' time.
It's an interesting thought that you mentioned something there. If we do get Victoria Yuzuki and Seri Amoka, which, let's face it, will be fantastic, do you put that on after Mayu and Takumi?
I think you do, and for two reasons why. One, the one I just mentioned is the fact that, like, hey, this is the future Marigold. This is the future pro wrestling. This is the future Joshi Pro Wrestling. We have it right here. Not only that, but if you put the Mayu and Takumi Rohak, the GHC belt, you put that on second, that to me is showing that the GHC Women's Championship is more important than the United National Championship, and it's on a Marigold show. If it was on any other show, if this was on a Monday Magic, a Friday Night Gotcha, a whatever, then I'd be like, okay, I can understand that because Mayu and Takumi are your two bigger stars. But I think that you need to end this show red belt, white belt, 1-2 punch to show that these are the two most important belts in Marigold and two of the most important belts in Joshi. So I absolutely would. And we've seen it before. We've seen Rossi do it before when it was when Mayu was IWGP champion. She'd have a big match, and obviously she's the biggest star in Stardom, but they would put the white belt on after her, and they would put the red belt up after that. And it's basically almost a challenge. It's a challenge to be like, try to follow that. But I think that for you to establish the belt and Yuzuki and Seri, I think it should go on after Mayu and Takumi. Again, will they be able to follow that? I don't know. Will Miko Ano and Mai be able to follow that? It's a tall order. But it's just like, let's try it. Let's see if that's something they can do. It's all about pushing each other to be better. And again, we saw it back in 2022 in Stardom where Sai Kamatani was Wonder Stardom champion, and then she would have an absolute banger, and then Shuri would go on next. So it's almost like Sai would come back from Curtin and be like, follow that. Sometimes Shuri was able to do it. Sometimes she wasn't. So to me, it's a challenge for who's going to have the best match on the show between those three championship matches. And ultimately, Rob, who benefits the most on it? We do as the fans. Because we are going now again. Can they mix the card up a little bit and maybe put the United National Championship match on first, just to get the big pop? It's a possibility. We've seen it before in different companies. Will they put a championship match on first just to really, really warm up the crowd? It's a possibility, sure. More than likely, the last three matches are going to be GHC, United National, and then the Crimson Red. Which again, you get a 1-2-3 punch like that to end a show. Ultimately, who wins? The fans. And that's ultimately what you want to do, is fan retention and get more eyes on the product.
If Mayu and Takumi Iroha wasn't for the GHC belt, does that main event the show?
No, because you have two championships. You have this.
Io and Mayu was the same. Io and Utami was the same. Io and Utami went after the United National stuff, but before the Marigold World Championship. I know that Io and Mayu is obviously a completely different breed of animal, but it's the same sort of deal. That went on last. Do you think, even without the GHC, so assuming that obviously, okay, I do agree with you. I do think that both title matches should be on before Mayu and Takumi. I do. Because again, you are trying to establish new stars. Mayu is not going to be there forever. You need to start finding those people that are going to lead the company when Mayu does eventually retire.
Be a Peck River.
Or does get lost to a point where people have to go and find her in a forest somewhere. Let's be honest.
I thought you put a forest. Like the fact that she's always getting lost in trains. You're like, no,
honestly,
she's in a forest hanging out with Jason Voorhees as part of the new Friday the 13th movie.
I do like the idea of Mayu just traveling the rails for the next 9 years. I've never known what stop to get off at.
That's our next what if.
What if Mayu never got off the train?
Oh my goodness, it's a series. Netflix, pick that up. Runaway Wrestler 2, never coming back again. Sorry.
Where is Mayu today? She's in Hiroshima. Why?
Venus.
Yeah.
How did she get somehow she took the train and she landed at NASA, and all of a sudden she's in Venus.
How is this possible? Yeah, so obviously you're going to have to establish new stars. I get that. But is it solely because it's a GHC title that you think it goes on, especially before the United National title? Or do you think, irrelevant of what the match stipulation is and was, those two title matches need to be your 1-2 punch to close the show? Because again, Marigold haven't been afraid before of putting those special singles matches either between the two title matches or in Grand Destiny's case, putting it above.
Great point. The common denominator with that, I love Takumi Roja. She's not EO. She's not EO, and especially EO. It's not like, again,
At the moment, yeah.
It's not like EO is in the middle of the card of WWE, or she's wrestling on doing freelance work. And no, she's a big star in WWE TV, and she has been for the past few years. That's the reason why I think they put EO on as the main event. One of the many reasons why. And again, the fact that it's Rossy Ogawa who booked EO all those years in Stardom and has a closer relationship than she does with Takumi. That I think that's the reason why. It's because it's special, because it's EO, and we don't get to see EO that often wrestle in Japan. I mean, that she's had 2 matches outside of WWE since her going to WWE in 2018, where Takumi obviously wrestles all the time in Japan, so it's not as special. I'm not saying Takumi is a very special talent. Takumi and Mayu, as we mentioned about an hour or so ago, buddy, at the start of the show, is going to be very special. And I'll be honest, it's the match I'm looking forward to the most on the show in Oda Ward, and on the slew of phenomenal matches we're going to be there live for. It's one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most. Throw that up there with Shuri versus Sai Kanatani and Tanahashi's retirement against Okada. It's right there. I'm really looking forward to it. But again, I think that you need to put the United National Championship match on after, and you need to put the Crimson Red Belt match on after that, just to establish how important these belts are, how important these belts have been over the past year, and how important these belts are going to be for the foreseeable future for Marigold. I think it's a statement that you need to make. And again, the fact that it is Mayu versus Takumi, they're going to have those last 4 gals, they're going to have extra working boots on to try to go after that. Because again, Rob, when we have our ginormous 95-hour podcast recapping our trips to Japan, that might be our favorite match that we have seen the entire week and change that we're out there, is Mayu versus Takumi Roja. So again, regardless, at the end of the day, the ultimate winners are the fans, and you can only just thank the brass at Marigold for giving us such great professional wrestling.
Finally, let's move on to that final show we're going to be talking about today, then. Night 3 of the True Victory Tour, 24th of November, the Monday, which was a public holiday in Japan. A couple of people missing from this show. Kazuna Tanaka and Shoko Kishino missed the show due to participation on the Naniwa Joshi Pro Wrestling event at the MBS Chayamachi Plaza in Osaka. The announced attendance inside the Kazuno City Memorial Sports Center in Akita, which is where the show was, 312 again for the second show running. First time the company have run the venue, and it's indeed the first time that they have run anywhere in Akita. The rundown of the results then is as follows. We started with a singles match, Nagisa Takibana defeating Yuka Yamazaki with a Tortura in 12 minutes and 5 seconds. Singles match, Hummingbird finally got a win. She defeated Nao Ishikawa with the wrist clutch leg roll clutch. Goodness gracious me, 9 minutes 47 seconds. We'll call it the bird's nest. Singles match, Minami Yuki defeated Megaton with the fantastically named Southern Wind in 5 minutes and 18 seconds. In your tag team semi-main event, Mai Sakurai and Chika Goto defeated Miko Ono and Komomo Minami. Mai Sakurai pinning Komomo Minami with the STK in 13 minutes and 5 seconds. And then in your 6-woman tag team main event, Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Seri Yamaoka defeated the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui, Chiaki, and Ryo Sato with the victory, shooting Victoria Yuzuki pinning Chiaki in 19 minutes and 12 seconds. Matt, a great moment for Nagisa Takibana, who records just her second singles victory out of 16 matches, which is quite an impressive feat for Nagisa. Only her 5th career victory out of over 60 matches. So they're few and far between, these victories, but a big victory over Yuka. And again, they were given a lot of time with over 12 minutes for this opener.
Yeah, we always say like, man, this match was so good. I wish I got more time. Wish I got more time. When you get more time, this is what you get.
This was
Rob,
perfect. Yeah.
this is my second favorite match on the show, which is an opener, two
Wow.
rookies. You have Mayu on this show, you have Mikoano on this show. And again, the rest of the show was great. I had at 3 3/4 stars. Again, maybe this is something that was slated 8, 9 minutes. Let's give these girls 12 minutes. Let's give them
Yeah.
time to sink or swim and let me see what they're gonna do. They absolutely swam. You start out with great fundamentals, the chain rest and the headlock, the arm bars, the hammer locks, really great fundamentals to build towards what you're doing. I always say if professional wrestling is like building a house. You need to establish the foundation first before you start building in the walls, and then you start building, the ceiling. You're not going to put the ceiling first because there's no foundation for it to go. These two spent the first 3 or 4 minutes building the foundation of the match. Really great stuff. Yuki Yamazaki using that jumping enziguri, step up enziguri, one of her really big go-to holds, which I thought was really terrific. Great form exchange between the two. Then Yuka loses the form exchange, but then she fires up with chops. Again, something that we really don't talk enough about is how great Yuka's chops are and how she uses them almost as a defensive move to back up her opponent to allow herself some time to start building towards the finish, which I thought was really great. Yuka uses that Lamaistra into the rear naked choke, which I really, really enjoy, and then does the version of like the Big Show's final cut. Excuse me. That scores Yuka 2 count. However, Nagisa comes back. She basically hits a back heel trip and then into the Tequila Sunrise for the submission. Again, 12 minutes. I thought this was great. More of this, please, Marigold. Give these girls, especially on the undercard, more time to tell their story. Terrific stuff. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Yeah, big fan of how Nagisa Takibana got into the move that she has christened the Tortura. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing that more and more. And again, a really good indication of what happens when you give these ladies time on the undercard of these shows, because there's so much entertaining stuff on these Marigold undercards. And, that's credit to the work that the women are doing. And there's been a noticeable uptick on these undercards since the purchasing of the dojo and obviously the appointment of Kondo as the head trainer. So again, a lot of credit must be levied there as well. Moving on now, Ishikawa versus Hummingbird. Again, Matt Turner, Hummingbird finally securing a victory as she heads into that match with Mayu Iwatani. Another good performance, though. And again, now Ishikawa showcasing just why she needs to be highlighted more on these Marigold shows.
Again, buddy, I'm going to echo what we just said about the first match. 10 minutes. We've seen like now Ishikawa and Hummingbird go 5, 6, 7 minutes. And we're just like, man, I wish I got more time. This one went right around 10. And I tell you what, I wouldn't have been upset if it went 11, 12 minutes because I thought these two were great. I loved as soon as the bell rang, Hummingbird's using that, again, that high impact style offense. And you're waiting for now just to be able to slow down Hummingbird. Obviously, now she's not the biggest wrestler in the world, but she wrestles sometimes like she is. And it's believable. All it takes is one shoulder tackle. And Hummingbird to take this big bump. And now Ishikawa starts building the momentum. And she's just starts throwing some bombs on these forearms onto Hummingbird, almost trying to crack the egg and let the yolk run all over the canvas. I had no idea if that was any good. Apparently a pop raw, which I thought was really good.
Sounded gross.
I know. I like eggs. I had a lot of eggs this week. By the way, devil eggs is a side dish for Thanksgiving, which I did have a few of them. So and high in protein, by the way.
So we've heard of deviled eggs. We have deviled eggs here. What are deviled eggs?
You boil basically you get your mayonnaise. You can put you can put whatever you want in it. Like I know my wife and my sister-in-law, they make like a homemade mayonnaise where it's basically kind of like a spicy mustard. So you take the egg, you boil the egg, and then you scoop the yolk out, and then you crush the yolk into your mayonnaise or whatever filling you want, and then you put that on top. You put it in the filling where the basically where the hole is, and then you put a little paprika for spice in it.
There you go. Did not know that. There you go. Don't say you don't learn anything on the match.
Yeah.
There's no one who's learned that because everyone has gone, how do you not know what a deviled egg is, Rob?
Rob did tell us, by the way, folks, that he's never had a pumpkin pie before. So we're going to try. Pumpkin pie is a dessert that usually starts around Thanksgiving and ends around New Year. So we're going to see if we can find a pumpkin pie place for Rob in Japan. So
I don't think it's likely.
You know what? You know what?
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted, Rob. As Ozzy Osbourne said, I'm a dreamer. I dream my life away. Anywho, back to the last part of this match. We get Naomi Ishikawa with a beautiful spine buster into the Boston Crab, which I like that she's utilizing that, because you think of the psychology, the spine buster, you get dropped. Where is it supposed to affect? Your lower back. The Boston Crab, what does that affect? Your lower back. And then I like how Hummingbird's trying to get to the ropes, then now transitions, going to the knee with the half crab. Thoroughly enjoy that. Now Ishikawa then hits a huge brain buster. That scores a 2.9. But then Hummingbird gets wrist control, trips up now Ishikawa, and then basically does almost like a wrist clutch, European clutch. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Trapping now Ishikawa, getting the win. 3.5 stars. A really great 1-2 punch to start the show off, partner. Thoroughly enjoyed this one.
We move on then to Minami Yuki against Megaton. Megaton 39 or 0 for 39 recently in matches. Minami Yuki, the latest to submit her with the Southern Wind. Great name for that move, Matt. Again, 5 minutes, not a great deal to talk about for poor Megaton here.
You had your comment that 5 minutes for this style match was perfect, because we've seen sometimes where they give Megaton 7-8 minutes and we just be like, all right, like let her do her shtick, let her take the falls, and then and let her get submitted. But she didn't get submitted here. She ate the 1-2-3. So Minami Yuki having to change up her game plan there. Again, it was fine for what it was. You got your Megaton comedy. Megaton did a few Megaton presses. Minami Yuki got a few things in. The gentleman's 3 stars for me, my friend.
Semi-main event then, Miko Ano and Komomo Minami against Mai Sakurai and Chika Goto. These combinations have been great over these 3 shows. Everything to do with Miko Ano and Mai Sakurai has been fantastic. And you're right, Matt, I do think that they're going to have to leave something ahead of First Dream. And then, of course, you throw Chika Goto in there, and it's the recipe for a really entertaining tag match. And that's what we got here.
I'm going to throw something out here. Again, obviously, these combinations of Miko Ano on one side and Mai Sakurai, they're done for a purpose because, again, they're wrestling each other in the main event of Ode Award. But we've seen Chika Goto and Mai Sakurai teaming up quite a bit here. And again, we're still touching upon this little thing with Miko Ano and Chika Goto. My guess is that might be the V2 or V3 for Miko Ano coming up. But if you don't have anything for Mai Sakurai, you don't have anything for Chika. Now, we did say maybe Chika Goto and Minami Yuki win the Twin Star belts. What if maybe in the first half or the second half of next year, we have a big run with Sakurai and Goto as your Twin Star championships? Because basically they've kind of just been teaming up on these shows to build towards Sakurai and Miko Ano, with still leaving a lot of questions for Goto and Miko Ano. Sakurai and Chika Goto, a really great team here. Like, I've thoroughly been impressed with their teamwork here, which just goes to show you what a great tag wrestler both Goto and Sakurai are, because we've seen them tag up with multiple opponents and have really great matches and great chemistry. So, again, really great stuff with Miko Ano, Mai Sakurai here, Miko Ano and Chika Goto. Again, Miko Ano must be spending more time in the K1 kickboxing dojo, because there was some, even Chika Goto's like, come on, kick me. And it was like, sometimes you shouldn't ask for what you want. You made your bed, now you got to lay in it. Miko Ano, again, she is making sure that she is the new champion in this company, because she lays her stuff in. Komomo Minami, I thought what they gave her was enough. She looked really good here, but ultimately this is just making Mai Sakurai look like a bigger threat going into Ode Award. Sakurai hitting the STK, her version of the STO, onto Komomo Minami to get the win. 3 3/4 stars. This was my favorite match of the show.
Yeah, I can certainly see a tag run for Chikarai going forward. There we go. I mean, they didn't use Wanako, so maybe they'll use Chikarai moving forward. Who knows? Moving on then, your main event, 6-woman tag action, Mayu, Victoria Yuzuki, and Seri Amoka against the Darkness Revolution. Matt, what were your thoughts on this?
This was, again, very much like how we talked about the semi-main event. This was just a lot of Victoria Yuzuki and Misa Matsui. We started with the two of them, and when Victoria Yuzuki basically said she was starting, and then Misa said she was starting, the crowd got the ooh, because we know we're getting that big championship match coming up soon. Again, coming up in just a few days. And this was great chain wrestling, great high-speed wrestling, great lucha-style wrestling. Again, just a little bit of a snippet of what we're going to see. And I was like, but this is what they're going to give us. this is just going to be another great match in the catalog of great matches that Victoria Zuki has already had this year. Again, I really think that at our end of the year awards, I think Victoria Zuki is going to walk away as Marigold Wrestler of the Year, which again is something to say in a company that you have Mayu, Utami Hayashishita, Mirai was in there obviously for a little bit, and Mai Sakurai all having great years. This goes to show you how great she is. More great stuff with Victoria Zuki, Mayu Utami. Again, another tag team I would like to see. Rob, don't throw it out there. Give me a special singles match. I don't need tag belts. Mayu and Yuzuki versus Chikagoda and Mai Sakurai. Like, give us 15, 20 minutes of that. I think that match would absolutely slap, as the kids say. Speaking of slapping, really great sequences with Rhea Sato and Sari Yamaoka. We've seen them have great exchanges before. Rhea Sato really grinding down Sari Yamaoka with that great submission style that she does. And then it's Sari with that second rope spear and the springboard dropkick, which I thought was terrific. Chucky, she comes in here and she basically, again, she's the hard hitter. She's the heavy hitter. She's the hammer on Team Darkness Revolution Army. She hits the Buzz Sawyer, Ted DiBiase style power slam onto Sari Yamaoka. Sari comes back, hits a huge spear, 1, 2, then all of a sudden the ref's off my screen, buddy. Where did the ref go? Did he slip on Bob Moma Banana's banana hat? And did he leave the ring? No, those Dashley heels, they pulled the referee out of the match and then properly getting the proper boos. Victoria's eventually, though, we do see Mayu. She comes in, she cleans house. We get a big brawl on the floor. Victoria Zuki, again, we talk about what a great wrestler she is. We have to talk about the height she gets on these crossbody planches to the floor. I mean, she gets some height on these things, and she wipes out everybody that's on the floor with that beautiful crossbody. Jackie, she comes back in the ring. She slows down Victoria Zuki with the claw slam, scoring her a 2 count. Yuzuki comes back with the super kick, that spinning belly to back suplex, and then the victory shooting for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars, almost 19 and a half minutes. Enough time to tell the story. And the main story that we were told is Misa Matsui and Victoria Zuki is going to be absolutely fantastic in just a few days' time, partner. So I'm really, really looking forward to that one.
And so just a reminder before we throw to the glimpse of Julia, and I imagine it is nothing more than a glimpse, Mr. Matt Turner, although I might be pleasantly surprised. Who knows?
I added something for you, buddy. For you.
Me.
Yes, for you.
Stop it. Just a reminder that Marigold are in Sapporo on Saturday. 2 title matches. Mayu Utami versus Hummingbird in the evening for the Superfly title. And then Victoria Yuzuki versus Misa Matsui for the untitle on the afternoon show. We are running to the end of Marigold's calendar year. Shows on the 10th in Shinjuku Face, the 13th in 176 Box Osaka, the 14th in the Tahara City General Gymnasium in Aichi, and then we're into the 20th of December in Shibuya Ward Sports Center, 21st at Honjo City Kamiken Silk Dome in Saitama, and then the 27th in Korakuen, the 31st for their New Year's Eve show in Shinjuku Face, and then, of course, the 3rd of January for New Year Dream. So, Matt, only a handful of shows left in Marigold's calendar. Feels like only yesterday we were talking about Utami dethroning Suri as the world champion, and here we are, the end of 2025. Anyway, Matt, with that being said, it is time. No, it's not Vader time. It's time to catch a brief glimpse of Julia.
Yes, it's always big ups to my main man, Darren Chatton, for giving me time cues. For some reason, he asked if we could refer to him as NC. Darren Chatton, I don't know what that NC stands for, Rob. Can you give it a pick?
NC. Oh no, have I missed something here? It's going to be some at Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle. I pitched you a softball. Nice. That's not the fancy thing I added in for you. I'll get to that in a moment. But again, obviously, all seriousness, thanks, Darren, for giving me the time cues and everything. Once again, it is just Julia kind of backstage. It does look like that she wants revenge. She wants to come back for that United States Championship against Chelsea Green, but she may have to go through Chelsea Green's basically her security guard and one Alba Fire. So obviously Alba Fire has spent some time in Stardom back in the 2015s and 2016s when she was Kaylee Ray. Obviously Piper Niven, from what we understand, she's out with a severe neck injury. So we don't know when she'll be back. But it does look like that if Julia does want to challenge Chelsea Green, she might have to go through Alba Fire. If that's the 1-2 punch that we get is Julia, Alba Fire, and then Julia versus Chelsea Green, I'm all for that. I just wish we got more of Julia in the ring. Now, Rob, I'm going to add on to this segment because I want the segment to go on as long as I possibly can, because obviously Julia's not getting as much TV time as we would like. The Julia pre-orders for her very first WWE action figure are now available. I believe it's coming in April or March.
There you go.
It looks really cool. So you can gaze and glimpse at Julia as much as you want. Maybe I put her right over here next to my Ricky the Dragon Steamboat Funko Pop. So that is what we all have here for a gaze at Julia. Again, I'm holding on to hope. Maybe we get a feud with her and Alba Fire and her and Chelsea Green, which would be great. But you know what's going to be great? That brand new Julia action figure coming out in just a few months' time. I advise everybody to pre-order them.
And ladies and gentlemen, that does bring to an end this episode of the Marigold Standard. Thank you ever so much for listening. We'll be back next week to absolutely talk about those two Sapporo shows. The chances are the Shinjuku Face show we will leave till the following week. Depends on when we record. We'll let you know next week. But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you could leave us a review or indeed a 5-star comment, all the way around, 5-star review or a comment, although a 5-star comment, sure. Why not? It's a free way to help the podcast out, and we truly do appreciate it. Patreon.com/StardomCast for all your things to do with Stardom and Marigold, as well as all of our archived episodes, hundreds and hundreds of hours of bonus content, our previews, and indeed our show reviews as well. Definitely check that out for as little as $1 solitary a month. We are on social media at Marigold Podcast, apart from Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, where we are on Talk Joshi. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Before I plug my stuff, folks, I know we're on the holiday season, and it might be tough to do some gift giving. Your Uncle MT is going to help you out. No better present to open underneath the tree than Rob Goodwin's new book. Yes, it is now available. It is now available for purchase on Amazon. Yes, Building Blocks, the 50 of the greatest matches in professional wrestling. It is available. I did tell Rob, yes, I already purchased that book. And Rob's I forgot that it was out. I'm like, don't worry, buddy. I got you. I will be plugging this book as much as I possibly can because I know it's going to be great. So again, folks, if you get it as a stocking stuffer underneath the tree, Valentine's Day present, just because the sun came out present, because the day ends in Y present. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because you like eggnog or you don't like eggnog or you like Jack Daniels, just buy it. Buy Rob's book, buy all of his books because they are all fantastic. Now, folks, with that being said, folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, you need the link to buy Rob's books. Let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email. The email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Marigold Standard. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.